Good afternoon. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had a nice week this week. We'll be going over the market, going over today's plays, talk about what to expect going into next week. So let's get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for August 27th, 2021. Qs up about 1%. Let's get to the daily here. And SPY up 0.86, IWM up the most, up 2.8. So we saw the rally back up on the IWM. Okay, we were no longer bearish on it as we were as it on its way to the retest of the lows here. Okay, we were initially anticipating we'd get the IWM to be bullish if it ever took out this base. And then we're doing it here now. Kind of after this run up, nice red bar there to kind of keep the run up from getting a little bit too extended. So good kind of little, this just confirms the attempt to put in a lower high. Now it's almost an equal high here to this base, but the failure of that makes this move all that more bullish, kind of as confirmation that it doesn't want to come back in and retest the lows. And we talked about this scenario weeks ago. The potential, if we get this, I think we were talking about it back here. If we get this run up to 226, 227, next pullback is viable because we'll have ended this daily downtrend. And so we got that today. This run up to what's the high of today here? 227. Okay, so 227. Now any kind of pullback on the daily will be a viable opportunity there on the IWM. So that's what we'll be on the lookout for, because if the IWM turns bullish, which it is now, so we're anticipating, next entry is bullish. So along with the Qs and the SPY, we have alignment across the board here. Okay, on the Qs, the SPY, and the IWM. All right. So we haven't had that in a while because, as you can see, the difference in the IWM, right? The Qs and SPY have been making all-time highs almost every other day for the past few weeks, and IWM is kind of lagged behind a bit. And so now IWM catching up. So we'll see if that remains. That's the expectation right now. So IWM starting to catch up a little bit here with the Qs and the SPY. Okay, so kind of bullish across the board, quite simply, going into next week. All right, let's take a look at today's play. So today, I thought we had some okay gap downs. Nothing all that standout as far as the gap ups, but the gap downs all had their kind of issues. Big got bought right away. The gap was also way too big. Only needed a gap to like 52, 53. Ended up opening here at 47. Okay, so we wanted to just break support. Ollie gapping also too far. I mean, you could look at these to play long. It's not in my plan to do so because they're not really novice on these gap downs. So yeah, they both got bought. They didn't really set up either, so that was fine. But those were my favorite of the gap downs was the HPQ actually. But just needed to clear the support. So it was gapping to the support, was expecting it potentially to clear. It's a little bit like the XL gap to support initially, and then once it cleared, that was nice. So, gapping to support, we see the potential there. If it starts to eat through it and we can get a play short, that would be great. But it got bought instead. So then kind of the favorites, or at least the top gaps initially, didn't really set up. And then the CG I did play. CG I did give a try here, and here was the gap on the CG. Clearing a few green bars here. Now, the gap itself, like I said, it wasn't one of the favorites, right? There were other ones that I thought were more significant, more damaging gaps to the chart, so I'd rather short those. But I did think that the entry here on the CG was as good as it gets for a play at the open. So that's what we played here. See this breakdown here in the morning? Okay, so that's what I was willing to try. Stop at the high of the day and entry underneath the low. So we got some follow through initially. it was looking okay. I did not take anything though here. And so that ended up being kind of the bottom. And then as the market turned around, so did this thing. Now it looked like, going into like 10:30 or so, 10:20, I think, Q's had already made this move. I thought maybe at that point, the stop didn't change or anything. We just kept the stop at the high of the day as it was, from the beginning. But I thought, okay, maybe we already survived this run up. Maybe it might be okay. But CG ended up taking out the highs, and that was the end of that. You can see it did continue to keep on going, so that's fine. I didn't have to look at it again to see, do I need to replay it or anything like that. And I was pretty secure with the stop as far as that's where it should go. If it takes that out, it's no good. That's fine. I didn't really think about flipping it or playing it back long because it's a pro gap down. I wanted to play it short, so was looking fine. Just didn't really give us enough follow through there to get a decent target, and was going to get bought anyway. So that's fine on the CG. I really like the entry on that, so I thought it was worth a shot. All right, and then going into the afternoon, ended up being quite a few good level 2 play setups and readable level 2s. So that ended up kind of being the focus for the afternoon. So a couple of them that came up, SRGA, putting in some tight bases, giving us some chances to play the breakouts here, a few cents at a time. SHIB as well. SHIB was pretty good as well. Really tight base, so you're really not risking anything, a penny, 2 at most, for the little bit of follow through there. XSPA as well. So, I thought that this week that the level 2 scalps were a little bit more impressive than the chart plays. Not all that much more, but but definitely I thought they performed better, less tricky. So we'll see, if that's going to remain the case. I think, if you're in the room, you're trading with me, for the most part, we're kind of open to both. I usually just go over the chart trades in the market wrap because it's a little bit harder to go back and show what the level 2 looks like, what the scalps look like at that point in time. And so the chart trade is a little bit easier to review. But really, I thought today, and actually the general theme of this week is I thought the level 2 plays were a little bit better. So I can go over them a little bit more if that remains the case for next week as well. But it's definitely something that it's better if you're in the room real time. And if you're already in the room, then I don't really need to explain it to you. A lot of times you're following along with, where we're getting in, where we're getting out anyway, what we're seeing on the level 2. Okay. So hopefully you did well this week. The focus this week was really quality over quantity, and I think that's going to remain the case going into next week. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple weeks there's a day or maybe 2 where I don't have any plays to go over with you, in which case we'll just go over the market. But we'll see. I think as the earnings list starts to get smaller and smaller and we get completely out of earnings season, I'll be curious to see what the gaps list looks like. Okay, maybe with IWM moving up and being as bullish it is, that's why I think part of the reason why this afternoon we got so many of these, because these are all small cap names, right? A lot of these SRGA or XSPA, they're lower price and smaller cap names. I think if the IWM, really kind of takes the reins here, starts moving a lot, that's what will be moving. But we'll see, because you can see, biggest green bar that we've had probably in almost a month or so on the IWM. So we'll see if that remains the case next week. Okay, so that may set the tone. All right, that's going to do it for today's market wrap. Hope you did well. We'll be back at it on Monday, and I will talk to you then. Have a good weekend.